All right, listen up. In today's world, where relationships feel more complicated than ever, it's easy to get distracted by the wrong people and overlook the right ones. We talk so much about red flags, things to avoid, signs of toxicity, but what about the rare green flags? The qualities that make a woman truly high value, someone you'd regret losing if you don't pay attention. If you're someone who wants a real, meaningful relationship, not just surface-level attraction or short-term excitement, this video is for you. Because today, we're breaking down 6 rare green flags that set a woman apart. And trust me, if you spot these in someone, you don't want to let her go. Now, before we dive in, let me make one thing clear. A high-value woman isn't about looks, money, or social status. It's about mindset, character, and emotional intelligence. And a lot of guys don't recognize these qualities until it's too late. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. To you. Let's start with a quick story. Picture this. You meet someone new. She's attractive, sure, but that's not what stands out. There's something different about her. She's confident, but not arrogant. She's kind, but not a pushover. She makes you feel comfortable, but at the same time you respect her. And the more you get to know her, the more you realize she's rare. What is it that makes her stand out? Well, let's get into it. One of the biggest green flags of a high-value woman is how she handles conflict. Anybody can be sweet when things are easy, but when tension rises, how does she respond? A high-value woman doesn't play games, manipulate, or resort to passive-aggressive behavior. She communicates clearly and maturely. She's not afraid to express what's bothering her, but she does it in a way that aims to solve the issue, not create more drama. Think about it. How rare is that? We live in a time when people ghost each other, throw out sarcastic comments instead of addressing issues, or build resentment because they won't talk things out. But when you meet a woman who can sit down, look you in the eye and say, "Hey, here's what's bothering me, let's figure it out," that's gold. That's emotional intelligence. Now let's talk about independence. And no, I'm not just talking about financial independence, though that's important too. A high-value woman has a life outside of the relationship. She has her own passions, hobbies, and personal goals. She's not waiting for someone to complete her because she already feels whole on her own. And let's be real, there's something incredibly attractive about a woman who isn't clingy or overly dependent. She enjoys spending time with you, but she doesn't need constant attention to feel validated. That balance, that's a green flag most guys don't appreciate until they experience the opposite. Someone who's overly needy, insecure, or emotionally draining. All right, let's move on to another rare but crucial trait, kindness with boundaries. You ever met someone who's genuinely kind but also knows their worth? That's a high-value woman. She treats people with respect, whether it's a server at a restaurant, a stranger in line, or someone she loves. But here's the key, she doesn't let people walk all over her. This is important because there's a big difference between being nice and being a pushover. A high-value woman knows when to say no. She knows when someone is taking advantage of her generosity, and she's not afraid to set boundaries. That mix of kindness and self-respect, it's rare. And it's a sign of someone who values herself enough to make sure she's surrounded by the right people. I remember talking to a friend who was in a relationship with a woman who seemed amazing at first. Kind, sweet, always putting others first. But over time he realized something. She never stood up for herself. She let people take advantage of her at work, in friendships, and even in their relationship. It wasn't confidence, it was people-pleasing, and eventually it wore her down. Truly high-value woman is kind, but she also has self-respect. She'll give, but not at the expense of her own well-being, and that's powerful. Let's talk about emotional stability. Nobody's perfect. We all have our moments. But a high-value woman doesn't create chaos for no reason. She doesn't pick fights just to get attention or use emotional manipulation to control a situation. She's self-aware. If she's upset, She takes a moment to understand why, instead of just lashing out. And look, this is huge. If you've ever been with someone who thrives on drama, constantly looking for something to be mad about, making everything a bigger deal than it needs to be, you know how exhausting that can be. But when you meet a woman who brings peace into your life instead of unnecessary stress, that's a game changer. Now let's talk about ambition. Not necessarily in the career-focused sense, though that's great too, but in life. A high-value woman has goals. She's working towards something. Maybe it's her career, maybe it's a creative passion, maybe it's personal growth. But she's not stagnant. She's evolving. And here's why that matters. When someone is growing, they inspire you to grow too. You don't want to be in a relationship where one person is pushing forward while the other is just coasting. A woman who has ambition, who's constantly learning and improving herself, that's someone you can build with. Let's slow down for a second and really dig into why these green flags matter. It's easy to get swept up in the whirlwind of attraction, the chemistry, the physical connection, the excitement of the unknown. But as time goes on, you realize that these surface-level aspects, though fun and important, don't sustain a relationship. They don't carry you through the hard times. It's the deeper qualities, the ones we often overlook in the early stages, that really set the foundation for something long-lasting. And when you spot these green flags early on, that's when you know you're dealing with someone who's not just a flash in the pan, but a keeper. But let's get even more specific. Here's another green flag that's hard to miss: self-awareness. This one is massive, especially in today's world, where many people are constantly seeking validation from others. A high-value woman has a deep understanding of who she is, her strengths, her weaknesses, her past, and her goals. But it's not just about knowing herself. It's about her willingness to continuously grow. A woman who knows her flaws, but is actively working to improve them, who can look at herself honestly and say, "This is where I can be better," is someone who takes accountability for her own life. Let me give you an example. Have you ever been with someone who shifts the blame onto others for their mistakes or shortcomings? It's exhausting, right? But a high-value woman doesn't do that. She owns her actions, and when she messes up, she owns it and learns from it. She's not afraid to say, "I was wrong," or "I could have handled that better." And trust me, that kind of self-awareness is not just attractive, it's rare. And let's talk about gratitude for a second. A high-value woman isn't entitled. She doesn't expect the world to revolve around her. She knows how to appreciate the good things in life, big and small. Whether it's a compliment, a thoughtful gesture, or just time spent together, she shows genuine gratitude. And here's why that's so important. Gratitude breeds positivity. If you're with someone who constantly appreciates you and the little things in life, it lifts the entire relationship. It's not about grand gestures all the time. It's about acknowledging the small acts of kindness, the moments of care. And when a woman has that gratitude, it creates a peaceful, uplifting energy that's contagious. One more green flag that often gets overlooked: the ability to let go of past baggage. We all come with our pasts, our experiences, our hurts, our history. But a high-value woman isn't defined by her past mistakes or bad relationships. She's done the emotional work to heal and move on. Here's the truth. If someone is still holding on to their past and projecting that onto a new relationship, it's going to cause problems. A high-value woman doesn't bring emotional baggage into every situation. She's not looking to you to fix her or heal her wounds. Instead, she's seeking a partnership, someone who will stand beside her as equals. She's learned the lessons from the past, and now she's focused on the future. And the beautiful thing about this, when you're with someone who's emotionally healthy, it gives you permission to do the same. The relationship feels less like a therapy session and more like a space to grow together. We also need to talk about respect for other people's time. A high-value woman doesn't waste time, and she certainly doesn't want someone who will. She values her own time and the time of those around her. Whether it's work, friendships, or her relationship with you, she's organized and intentional about how she spends it. And this doesn't just mean punctuality, though that's important. It means she doesn't string you along with vague promises. She doesn't leave you hanging for days without communication, and she doesn't waste your time pretending to be someone she's not. She's clear about her intentions, she communicates openly, and she's straightforward about where she stands. If you're with a woman who respects time, yours and hers, you're already in a healthy, respectful dynamic. But if you're dealing with someone who's constantly late, unreliable, or who only reaches out when it's convenient for them, that's not the high-value behavior we're talking about. Another key green flag? Supportiveness and collaboration. High-value women are not in competition with you. They're not trying to tear you down or outshine you. They are with you, not against you. She's genuinely happy for your success, and she wants to see you thrive. In a relationship with a high-value woman, it's about building each other up. If you win, she wins. If you're struggling, she'll have your back, and she'll be there to support you emotionally, mentally, and even physically when needed. It's about partnership, not competition. Think of it like this. If you're pursuing your goals, a high-value woman will be your cheerleader. She'll encourage you, celebrate your wins, and help you when things aren't going as planned. She's secure in herself, so she's never threatened by your growth. She understands that success is something you both create, not something that takes away from either of you. All right, I've thrown a lot at you today. But here's the key takeaway. High-value women are not just about checking off boxes. It's not about finding someone who's perfect. They don't exist. It's about finding someone who makes your life better, who pushes you to be the best version of yourself, who's committed to building something meaningful. And when you spot these green flags, it's your responsibility to recognize them. Don't get distracted by the shiny objects or superficial attraction. The real treasure, the real prize, it's the woman who brings peace, growth, support, and authenticity into your life. Now, I want to hear from you. What green flags have you noticed in a woman that you didn't realize were so important at the time? Drop a comment, let's chat about it. If this video opened your eyes to something new, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more conversations like this.